have one thing going on is technology. Technology is wiping out jobs all over the place.
Bitcoin actually is inversely correlated. So basically, as a dollar value goes down, Bitcoin actually goes up.
I started off years ago saying cash is trash.
Invest in the technology. It is Ethereum.
That's why I put my 50,000 bet. It was a bet against the economy. It wasn't a bet on Bitcoin. You know, I've never trusted the dollar. And I started off as a silver guy, then gold, and now I have Bitcoin. But I just don't trust my government. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it didn't make a difference if Trump was in or Biden was in. We're still getting screwed. And what's happening to, in my opinion, the income inequality is very simply that you have one thing going on is technology. Technology is wiping out jobs all over the place. And it's going to increase the artificial intelligence and all that. Like my friends who are accountants and lawyers and doctors, they say pretty soon we don't need as many of us because the blockchain can handle a lot of that. So this idea of job security for life and, you can stay with a company forever is kind of obsolete thinking. And then the second problem, so one is artificial, one is technology, but second is corruption of the US dollar. And they just keep, instead of solving the problem, they just keep printing more of it. So the debt just keeps going up, but it makes it harder and harder for the guy literally in the street today to survive because they don't have the job skills. They don't have the skills and all this to earn the income that'll get them off the streets. And so it's more than systemic. This is global transformation right in front of us. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think especially with the stimulus plans, there's, we didn't actually expect from a valuation model, how do you value Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies? We didn't expect the pandemic to create, even a third stimulus coming, right? So what's happening is there's so much money being printed that there's a lot of excess money as well. And that excess money does go back to the stock market. It does go back to other investments here. So what we're seeing now is like with low interest rates, you see like the stock market at all-time highs. You see cryptocurrencies at all-time highs. You see real estate like the fastest buying growth in 6 years, right? So what's happening with crypto is like there's nowhere else to invest money right now. But within subsets of crypto, there are ecosystems that are still I wouldn't say undervalued. I'd say like superheated, but there's still yield coming from these ecosystems that are being built on cryptocurrencies right now. And that's what like kind of our research and our kind of predictions are heading towards in the cryptocurrency area.
Right. So the reason we would like to have you back is because all of Rich Dad Radio, a lot of guys on our program are real estate guys or entrepreneurs and all this. But the question is, where do you put your money? I started off years ago saying cash is trash, and it's becoming trash. The more that artificial intelligence and technology makes things more efficient, prices should keep coming down, but the Fed keeps pumping it up. And so we have the guys in the middle, the people that, lesson number one in Rich Dad Poor Dad is rich don't work for money. Because the moment you do that, you're screwed. So it's coming true right now. It really deeply concerns me, especially now that I'm going, oh my God, what I was saying 25 years ago is coming true today. And so that's why people have got to understand what goes on in your head, because that's the future now. The future of money lies in my opinion, crypto or Bitcoin and blockchain. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so we can talk for hours on this. So I'll try to summarize it as much as I can. Let's start with Bitcoin. Just a quick summary to like first-time listeners, Bitcoin is a decentralized ledger. You can think of like an Excel sheet that nobody actually owns, but everybody that has like a cell, you can control the money coming out only, and you can receive money. What's also interesting about Bitcoin is it's like very, not fixed supply, very, very deflationary though. As more Bitcoins are minted, it gets less and less inflation. And I think it stops around 21 million Bitcoin. And it's not pegged against anything, right? You can say Bitcoin today is $37,000, but it's not really, it doesn't matter. Like Bitcoin is itself. It's not pegged to any world currency. And as a result, if you have like US dollar getting printed as like crazy, Bitcoin actually is inversely correlated. So basically as a dollar value goes down, Bitcoin actually goes up. And what we're seeing right now is like hundreds of billions of dollars being acquired by financial institutions. Grayscale being a very prominent one. They own $20 billion of Bitcoin right now. A lot of other funds are buying in the $100 million increments. But what's happening is there's like not much supply left of Bitcoin actually. And it's causing like an overcorrection of the kind of hedge against the dollar thesis. I think everyone agrees that it is a hedge against the dollar, but at some point it might be overcorrecting it. And then as the vaccines roll out and the dollar gets stronger, that thesis is going to get turned around, right? So that's at least my view on Bitcoin. And again, like if we have a third stimulus, we probably haven't even seen the top yet. Third stimulus would again further devalue the dollar and further give Bitcoin that hedge up. So like even the $50,000 range that you predicted a while ago, which I thought was a little bit high, even the $50,000 range of Bitcoin is like not out of the question at all right now. Yeah.
And the reason I'm not judging Bitcoin, I'm judging the stupidity of our government. And when I am being a real estate guy, when I look at how much debt is going to default, and the question is, when all those office buildings around San Francisco can't pay the rent, who's going to bail them out? That's why I put my 50,000 bet. It was a bet against the economy. It wasn't a bet on Bitcoin. And I'm betting they're going to print. I mean, if they don't print, we're screwed anyway. So
yep.
That's kind of my philosophy. It's not a very sophisticated philosophy, but I'd rather have Bitcoin than dollars right now. That's all I'm saying.
So I want to talk about what's going on with Ethereum, though, because I think this is pretty crazy. So just another summary for everyone else. Ethereum took that decentralized ledger idea. They added a programmable logic on top of that, so people can actually develop code on blockchain. So what you have is like decentralized code as well as currency, and people use the first use case is always currency because that's like the most you can like take financial applications and put value on it and then transfer it over the chain. But Ethereum in 2018 came up with the ICO concept. You can mint new tokens on top of Ethereum, and that became a huge fundraising vehicle in 2018, which ultimately resulted in a big bubble pop because there was not much utility. There was actually not much adoption coming from that. 2020 though has changed everything. By the way, just to give a reference, Ethereum is up 700% since last year, and Bitcoin is up 300% since last year. So that's just kind of reference of what's going on with the kind of divergence of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But by the way, Bitcoin and Ethereum always very tightly coupled. Right now, though. Sorry, you're going to say something?
No. When people say, "What are you doing?" I say, "Well, just buy it all." I have gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Like I said, I'm just betting against my government. That's all I'm doing. The stupidity of them.
So if you want to bet against the government, it's Bitcoin. If you want to invest in the technology, it is Ethereum. But there are a lot of projects within Ethereum that I think are very, very promising as well.
So Ethereum has some use to it. That's what you're saying.
Yes. There was a lot of ideas, a lot of technology, scaling, all those ideas came out in 2018 and 2019. The first thing that really got adopted was in 2020, and that was called the decentralized exchange. But a couple projects made use of a concept called automated market making. And basically what that means is you can deposit money in pools, and then people can trade out of those pools. So at any moment in time, I can just go on, use my wallet that has any number of tokens and swap it with other tokens. And there's always liquidity. And that concept in 2020 exploded. It got to the point where there was more volume on decentralized exchanges than centralized exchanges. So that was 2020 was like the year of DeFi, decentralized exchanges. 2021 is going to have a whole new a whole new set of services that we can talk about as well.
Jeez, I know you already lost me a long time ago. So anyway, so
like today you have to log in, right? You have to log into your E-Trade, Ameritrade to trade a stock, right?
Right.
That whole concept is going away now. With blockchain, you can represent stocks on blockchain and trade it without and you always have liquidity.
So are you saying, E-Trade and those guys are toast?
It's trending that way. Centralized exchange volume is starting to rival the decentralized exchange volume in the crypto space for now.
Wow. So going old school now, what happens to stocks then?
I think stocks will always exist because they have like fundamentals behind it. They have like actual equity and ownership behind it. what's happening in 2021 is a concept called synthetics. So real life assets are being represented on tokens, whether that's gold, whether that's the US dollar, or whether it's even like Apple or Tesla stock. That's all being represented on blockchain through different means of, and I don't want to get too complicated,
right.
but different means of like price feeds and staking and collateralization. So basically you can take all these assets, you make them secure, and then you make them tradable on decentralized exchanges. Right. And that means anybody with a wallet can trade these assets. And they can trade at any time. They don't have to log in anything. As long as they have the wallet, they can trade. And that's what's happening.
Yeah, it sounds like to me that's what brought down the real estate market, was a thing called derivatives. So they would take a mortgage and then they would chop it up and sell it to other people.
Yes.
And so they're now taking crypto and then making derivatives out of it, or they could do it with anything.
They can, yes.
You could put real estate in it, gold in it.
And again, this is, again, so crazy in 2021 because there is a derivatives market forming as well. You can do options trading. You can do Forex exchanges getting launched soon with INJ. Yeah, so there's a lot of different projects that are popping up. And these projects, by the way, are where all the yield is. So a lot of the synthetic projects are up about 500% just in the last 3 months alone because people already invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum. They need other places to now put that money, right? And then one of those areas is the synthetics that we're talking about right now.
So what holds it all together then is blockchain.
Yep.
Because blockchain is the contract. That's why I understand it.
Blockchain makes it not just secure, but like transparent, and then you can audit the code. You can see like everything is reasonable and not like suspicious because it's on blockchain.
Yeah, so the way I understand blockchain, which doesn't work in the old world of real estate, gold, silver, and all that, was you never knew what those guys were doing with it. You know, there was no transparency in the Fed or Wall Street. And so what blockchain does is it's a decentralized system, right? And everybody's a part of it. It's not like the Fed is in charge of it.
Exactly.
Is that kind of it?
And before, people just weren't using it, right? You could say it's decentralized, but it's slower, and it's hard to. I have to like put up some new infrastructure to get it working. That was a problem in 2017 to 2019.
Yeah, but that will be solved because you guys will speed it up fast as you can.
Yeah, so the speeding issue is being solved right now, and I think the barriers of entry are being eliminated as well too.